What is going on, everyone? We're back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, this team has a really interesting story to it, especially in this offseason, because this team has tried to sign almost every big free agent they possibly could, and none of them want to go to Toronto, which is very interesting considering they have not looked good over the last 5 years. If we take a look at this team's last 5 years, they made the playoffs, but they got swept every single time, and they haven't even won a game since 2016 in the postseason, and it's just been horrible for this team. Like the 2020 situation, the Rays was not good. They lost to the Mariners pretty badly after they had that insane comeback. And then the Twins games, they just did not look good once again. They just seem like that team that would make the postseason and just lose instantly. Pretty much what the Orioles are doing right now. And they have a mediocre 2024 going 74-88, and they still struggle to sign any free agents. And I think there's a multitude of reasons why no one really wants to go to Toronto. I think the main one is because they suck, right? But then we have Corbin Burns saying the tax benefits, right? I think that was kind of funny, the reason he wanted to go to Arizona. Obviously, he had an offer from Toronto on the table, but he didn't want to go to Canada because the taxes are way worse. And there was even a lawsuit a while ago with a couple of Toronto Blue Jays players that just played in Toronto but lived in the US. They had like a whole tax lawsuit and everything. The players ended up winning that whole lawsuit. But yeah, it's just kind of a pain for Toronto, especially when you look at, you know, the whole pay structure and how it works, and you got to pay Canadian tax, US tax if you live in the US. I don't know, it's just kind of annoying for players, especially when you're gonna get sued by the government. I mean, that's not really a good look either. And the team is also just not good either from a playing perspective. So, and they're in also a really hard division. So when you look at all those factors, I mean, it's not really likely. They ended up going 74-88, fifth in the division this year. I mean, the AL East was just extremely good. So it will be interesting to see how this team does moving forward. But we're going to move into their top prospects. This farm system is also not really good. They're not ranked in really anything ever. So they're not really doing the best job with some of these prospects. And from the top 10, they only have 2 guys that are going to get called up in 2025, which is not really that good. So let's get into those prospects. Coming in at number 8 in the organization is Adam Mako. He's supposed to be called up in 2025. Currently is in AAA, but really didn't play good at all. I mean, you look at his minor league career, I mean, it seemed like he struggled a lot in my opinion. I mean, even in the AA level, pitched 81 innings. That's where he spent most of 2024. I mean, he still got a 4.8 ERA. I mean, it's really not good, right? Not really good at all. Single A obviously pitched really well in the 9 innings. And then he went to AAA for 3 innings. Didn't really pitch good. He's supposed to be ETA 2025. I don't think that's going to happen by the way he's playing right now. And we'll see how desperate they get. If you look at his whole minor league career, he still had a 4.46. I mean, that's really not good. So we'll wait and see how he does. I don't think he's going to get called up in 2025, but he's ETA 2025. Coming in at number 9 is Josh Kaishevitz. I think that's how you pronounce his name. His 2024 season was actually pretty solid, better than 296. He's a shortstop. I think that could get really interesting as we're going to talk here in just a little bit. In AAA, I mean, he played 41 games, 325 batting average, really good. All right there, pretty much hit per game, pretty much throughout his whole 2024 season. I mean, it's just really insane and really good season from him, especially his first time being in AA and AAA. I mean, it's just really impressive. Probably start in AAA and then get called up later. He is a shortstop though. With Bo Bichette, that can get a little bit interesting. Maybe he moves over to second base. We'll kind of wait and see, but he played really good. I mean, especially for his first time in those leagues and you're already hitting like that. I mean, that's pretty solid to say the least. Then if we just kind of scroll here, we got the number 11 is 2025 in high A as a pitcher. I mean, we'll see how that goes. We got outfielder ETA 2025 at number 12th in the organization. We got 17th right here, infielders 2025. And then we have 20 and 21, outfielder and pitcher 2025. We have outfielder at 23, his ETA 2025. And then we have 2 guys down here, both pitchers, 26, 29, are ETA 2025. So you have a decent amount of players. It's just we know the farm system on paper is just not really that good compared to all the other teams in the league. So we'll kind of see where these guys go. I mean, you know, I'm not really confident in them, but we'll see where they go. If we move over to the contract situation now, the Blue Jays still have a lot of their contracts that they've signed from previous seasons. And we still have the George Springer contract for 2 more years. The Jose Barrios is still here for 4 more years. Kevin Gossman for 2. Did they get Andres Jimenez from the Guardians? They did do that in the offseason, which I feel like is a solid move for them. I really like him as a player. I think he's pretty good, and he's definitely underrated for sure. He's here for a while. Be here for 25 until 29, about 5 seasons right there, and then he's got a team option for 30. A little bit of control they have of him, at least for the Blue Jays, but it's the last year of a lot of major guys. I mean, Chris Bassett is going to be a free agent. Bo Bichette is going to be a free agent. We have Chad Green is going to be a free agent, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. a free agent, and then Eric Swanson is going to be a free agent after this season. season. So definitely a lot of free agents they have coming up that are some big names, especially Vlad and Bo Bichette. I think those are the biggest two. Chris Bassett, I don't think will get a contract moving forward. And then who knows, Chad Green could get a contract, I mean, because he's in the bullpen. So you never know on him. Yeah, Vlad and Bo Bichette are the big ones. I know Vlad said once the season starts, he's not going to negotiate with them anymore unless they can figure out an extension for him. Me personally, I don't think he's going to want to extend with the Blue Jays. I don't think there's a point to. I think Vlad's going to want to go somewhere else, especially where the money's at, because he is that guy. And he's had a great season in the past. I mean, he's had an MVP caliber season before. So I think there would definitely be some top teams in next year that are going to be wanting him already. Same with Bo Bichette. I mean, there's a lot of interesting teams he could go to as well in the shortstop market. And we did just have some big shortstops get signed for a while. So it does limit his options a little bit. But if he does want to play second base or move around maybe, then, you know, it opens up his options more. But wait and see on those guys. And then they still have some staples, which are all in arbitration on this team moving forward. And if we look at their contract situation, they currently have $136.1 million committed to the team. They think it's going to get up to $191.1 million committed to the team. And the only other free agent they signed throughout this whole offseason was Yimi Garcia for the bullpen. He was on Seattle last year. They gave him a 2-year contract for $7.5 million per year. That's the only splash they really made because no one really wants to sign with Toronto. Now moving over to their current roster right now, you know, it's not a horrible roster. That's the thing about this team. It's not horrible, but like it's not great. You look at the starting rotation with Kevin Gausman, Brios Bassett, all pretty good players. Alek Manoah is still on here for some reason. Obviously completely fell off after that 2022 like all-star campaign. I like the 3 stars they have. I feel like these are consistent good players. We'll wait and see how they do moving forward. Now in the bullpen over here, I think it's not a horrible bullpen. I really like Chad Green in the bullpen. I feel like he's always been a pretty solid player. And then adding Yimi Garcia is going to be pretty interesting in this bullpen, kind of add to that depth. So we'll see how the bullpen does moving forward. And then if we look at the starting 9, I mean, we pretty much know all the positions of this team. We know Kirk's going to be the catcher. We know Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be the first baseman. We know Andres Gimenez is going to play second base. I mean, that's a fact. Third base is kind of a question mark. They could throw a lot of guys here at the third base position. Bo Bichette will play shortstop. And then once again, in the outfield, you have a lot of interesting opportunity with some of these guys on where they want to play. For left field and center field, you got about 5 guys per position. And then right field will probably be, you know, George Springer once again. Or center field. I think George Springer plays at center field for the Blue Jays a decent amount, but we'll see where they go with this. And then DH, they could just use any of these outfielders, honestly. They could go a lot of different routes with these guys. So, you know, once again, the roster's not horrible. You know, wait, see how they do. I feel like it's going to be a similar season to last year, especially because they didn't really make many improvements. They did lose a decent amount of pitchers in the offseason so far, so, you know, you got to take that into factor. Now, take a look at Toronto's attendance this year. It was actually pretty solid. They come in at 9th for attendance right here, which is really good for their record. They got 2.6 million people to the stadium this year, which is about a 33,000 average, which is insanely good for this team. Makes sense though, because it's Canada's only team, so I think, you know, a lot of people like going to the games and stuff. And plus, they did do those massive renovations on the stadium, which makes the fan experience a lot better, which is definitely a positive for attendance, you know, so that makes sense, everything like that. But for the record, I mean, it's insanely good of the attendance they got this season. So nothing really too surprising here. I feel like Toronto has always had a pretty good attendance. Every time you look into their games and into the crowd, I feel like they always be drawing a lot. So yeah, pretty good attendance for Toronto. Now, taking a look at the draft situation for the Toronto Blue Jays, unfortunately, they did go down in the draft lottery, which was not ideal. They're going to be picking at number 8 in the first round. Pretty much after that, Toronto has a standard pick. Like, they don't have any like other picks. No prospect promotion, no compensation, no competitive balance A. Second round pick like normal. They have the 7th pick in the second round. Then we move down to competitive balance B. They're not in this. No compensation picks. Then we go to the 3rd round. They're picking number 6. Then once again, no compensation picks. We go to the 4th round. They're picking number 7. And after that, no compensation picks. We go to the 5th round. They're also picking number 7. And then for the remaining 15 rounds, they're going to pick 7. So they have the standard 20 picks across the board right here because they didn't really, you know, have any big free agents that went somewhere else. And they're not one of the smallest market teams or smallest revenue teams either. So my prediction for the Toronto Blue Jays is I don't think they're going to do anything really crazy. I feel like it might be a similar year to last year where it low-key could be worse, honestly. Like, I feel like they're really not going to do much, especially with the hard AL East becoming a lot better. I mean, we've seen the Red Sox go out and sign even more players. We've seen the Orioles get some new players as well. Also, we've seen the Yankees get more players, right? It's just really the Rays and who haven't really done much this offseason. And then you look at the Blue Jays who really haven't done a whole lot, even though they definitely tried, right? I will give them that. They definitely tried to get some good players, but it hasn't really happened. In my opinion, I think they're might have a worse year than last year. 74 wins, you know, they were a somewhat competitive team in 2024. I don't think they reached that this time, but who knows, right? Because it is a lot of guys' free agent year, so they might try to, you know, prove themselves, which could help them win more games, which tends to happen when you look at MLB free agents, which is very interesting. But, you know, we really don't know how the team's going to perform. My personal prediction, I think they're going to be worse than last year, just because they lost more players than they gained, and even the players that they gained are really not great, unless they have an outstanding performances from some of their current players or some rookie talent, I don't think they're going to get above 74 wins. I feel like it's going to be 70 to, some 60 wins, somewhere around there. 70 to 65 probably win season for them. That's kind of my prediction for the Toronto Blue Jays. But they have a lot bigger issues to face moving forward in this team's future. But with that being said, what are you guys' thoughts about this Toronto Blue Jays team? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with this take? Do you disagree with this take? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. And where do you think this team's moving in the future? Well, that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.